Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio
is in the house.
And welcome to Tied Up Tuesday, WTF Nation. How are you on this, the 13th of February, 2018? Tonight, it is myself, Greg Cloud, and I am joined with Pookie tonight because Minx, as you can see, is out saving the world yet again.
Bet.
So it is myself and Pookie tonight. We're running the train here. Tonight's going to be a good night. We'll get this out of the way. We have Carl Forsling from Task and Purpose joining us tonight, so stick around for that, nation. And we're going to discuss, like we always do, current events, stuff that happened over the weekend and whatnot. So it's going to be a good show. So, well, how was your weekend, Pookie? Let's start with that.
It was a very quiet weekend, which I enjoy. I stuck to myself and played video games all weekend like I normally do.
That's awesome. What are you playing right now?
I'm stuck on Skyrim still.
Stuck on Skyrim? How you liking it?
I love it. I've been loving it since it came out. I'm trying to get my hands on that new Dragon Ball Z fighter game, but I'm waiting for the price for it to drop down because I'm cheap like that.
What's the current price? $60?
Normal game price, like $50-$60. But,
yeah.
I'll wait. Someone will, at GameStop, trade it in for something, and I'll get it cheap.
Yeah, well, GameStop will give them, $14 for it, and then the GameStop will still want $40 to $50 for a year.
Yeah, but I saved the $10, though.
This is true. Yes, Joseph Loans in the Facebook live chat. It is Fat Tuesday as well. And for those who are not tracking, tomorrow, which is Valentine's Day, is also Ash Wednesday. So, there you go.
Oh, there you go. There's a lot of things happening all at once.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting, to say the least. But, that's good. So I'm starting to get into the Rainbow Six thing with the rest of the squad and whatnot. I got it on sale at Christmas for $20. They were having this huge sale at GameStop, and I picked it up for $20. It's a $60 game. So I'm working on that. My other go-to game is Forza. When I want to just run around and go fast, and then everybody's playing. What the hell's that other game? Shit.
Oh, that PUBG or whatever it is.
No, I don't do that shit. Grand Theft Auto. That's the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was playing, and I haven't played in a long time. It probably needs an update, is Fallout 4. Oh,
yeah. I was pretty big on that, but it's just kind of it's like Skyrim with guns. So, Elder Scrolls with guns. But I liked it.
Yeah, no, it's I like it. What sold me on it, because and that's when I first started playing games. When I got my Xbox and whatnot, is that I don't do a lot of the story first-person shooter really well, and I didn't want to do that. And the guy sold me on it because you do not have to follow the storyline in Fallout 4. You can just run around and do whatever you want. It's kind of open world or whatever you want to call it there. So it was it's really nice, and I really like that aspect of it. So, yeah, those are the plethora of games when I have time to play. Those are games I dabble in. But
was it
Go
Gran Turismo or whatever it is?
Oh,
they got that on a VR now. I'm thinking about picking that up because I do like racing games, and I think the VR aspect of it would be
I would be
badass.
sick as shit. You're gonna have to let me know how the VR is on that, because I would be sick as shit.
Well, I played Skyrim VR, and I hit the map the first time, and it like makes you feel like you're flying up in the air, and I almost ate dirt. because
Wow.
it freaked me. It like threw my senses all into like, oh.
Oh man. That's yeah, no, the VR thing, no. Not my forte.
I love it. I just there's not too many games being released for it right now. They're still like really developing a lot of the games.
Yeah.
There's one game I'm waiting for. It's called Moss. You like lead this little mouse around, and then you like control like it's like a puzzle game.
Yeah.
You control the mouse, and you like control the environment with your hands. It's pretty cool.
That's nice. But let's see here. So yeah, so my week was pretty quiet, class and whatnot. But Nation, I apologize for last week. I had to move individuals across the nation, so I was out for a while. But I logged 2,500 miles last week, moving across the nation. Yeah, 3 days. But it's it was pretty good though. But yeah, so there's that, and then let's see what else. That was about it. The week was the week is slow. So, but the important part, Nation. Go ahead.
Oh, I said it's a slow weeks are always the best weeks.
Yeah, at work it can drag on a little bit, and that's the downside of it and whatnot. But the important part, baseball season's back today. Catchers and pitchers reported. We are back in baseball season.
I might have to get back into baseball again.
Yeah, it's baseball season, so I'm wearing my my Rockies jersey and my Rockies cap, and we're back. So that's exciting for sports because other than that, it's just basketball, and nobody really cares about basketball. Well, I won't say that. Nobody cares about basketball until March Madness, and that's when basketball matters. that's
very true.
That's when it matters. The sports thing. So, all right. So let's cover some news articles. I guess it's been an interesting couple of days. It's only Tuesday, but it's been an interesting couple of days in the news already. So what do you know about what's going down with what does Trump Jr., Obama's leased office in D.C., and the House of Commons in the UK have in common?
Mysterious white powder.
Mysterious white powder sent to all three of them. Cause they are not calling me up. I could throw a wet noodle, maybe. But yeah, so it's very interesting that Trump Jr., Obama's office in D.C. here, and the House of Commons in the UK Parliament all got sent a mysterious package with substance. The one of the stories I've read so far, the one that is most interesting is the one to Trump Jr. because it actually had a note written with it.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Let's see. I got to pull up that article. Stand by.
Yeah, because the last I saw it, they found out it was just cornstarch, but they rushed her to the hospital just in case, I guess.
Yep. So that's Obama's. Oh, here he goes. Yeah, so it did contain cornstarch, which, okay, maybe they want him to bake something. I don't know. That's not. That's the wrong article. Son of a gun.
Oops.
Yeah, no. So it is. So that's the main article. Let me see if I can find the better article. My apologies, Nation. Stand by.
It's just I just find it odd that this happened kind of like back to back. Like I could see, Trump Jr.'s wife getting that letter, and then I understand Obama getting it out of a retaliatory thing because people were like fanatics nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, they're totally
the House. Yeah, the House of Commons getting it. That's like, there's something going on right now.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's Oh man, did they pull down the article with the actual letter in it?
Oh.
Or with what the letter said, I should say. So from what I can recall of reading it, Nation, I apologize not being able to find that actual article. I thought I had it pulled up already. basically the gist of the letter said it's something like you're a terrible man, and you get you deserve what is coming to you, or something to that effect. So the letter itself had a very, very dark tone to it with the scare of the white powder. Rather, granted, it was only cornstarch, and we're happy for that it was nothing hazardous and whatnot. Nothing worse than that. But what kind of people are we dealing with nowadays?
Well, I mean, look at how far the political spectrum has gone over the last 10 years. You've got groups popping up like Antifa. You've got the extreme alt-right neo-Nazis up with their tiki torches and shit. I mean, it's getting crazy.
Yeah, no, and it just blows my mind that really you are that bent out of shape about something not going your way, or that your political party lost, or something like that you want to possibly put somebody's life in danger, or at least bring that connotation that I'm going to put you in danger by mailing you something dangerous.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is why Donald Trump Jr. I mean, what did he do?
I don't know. And he was a part of the transition team. He was originally one of the advisors on his father's team. It could have something to do with that. Who knows? Easy target, But
I guess the Secret Service goes heavily through all of the political people's shit. So that's probably it too.
Yeah, there it is. So the only quote. You're an awful person, and now you get what you deserve. So that's one of the quote out of the letter addressed to him, right? And this is off of MSN's website, guys, if you're looking for it. White powder sent to Washington building housing Obama office reports. And it also cites the Donald Trump. That's where I saw it. Washington police and fire officials on Tuesday removed a white powdery substance sent to the office building where former President Barack Obama leases space, but the material was found to be harmless according to media reports. The local Fox affiliate said the incident was reported in the early afternoon at a building that houses the headquarters of the nonprofit World Wildlife Fund, and where Obama has leased office space. It was not known if Obama was in the office at the time, it said. It was mailed to the WFF. I think they meant to say WWF.
WWF.
Yeah. The substance turned out to be baby powder. So now we have cornstarch and baby powder. The Washington Examiner reported. The U.S. Secret Service and Obama's office did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Obviously not. And then it goes on to continue with the Trump Jr. story and what happened with that. So, again, why where is it that people need to do this? It just blows my mind that that this is what people have to come to, right? You're so upset and you're so enraged that your candidate lost, or you didn't get the political measure you wanted passed, or something like that, and you want to the first thing you want to resort to is sending something through the mail that could possibly kill somebody. That's your answer?
It blows my mind. The politics, I'll say politicking has gotten so extreme these days that it's either one way or the other, and people are fanatics. People are turning into straight up zealots over this shit.
It blows my mind that this is what everyone wants to come to. And then to see it, like you said, to see it happen in the UK.
That's got my head scratching. Okay, I don't know, tinfoil hat kind of thing. This was like a test run. When terrorists do attacks, they always do a test run first.
They do always do a test run. Yep. And that's, man, that could not bode well for anything. So, I hate to say this, but nation, see something, say something. You never know what part of the puzzle you might be helping to find.
Exactly.
So the quick down and dirty, it's a very short article from Reuters. Counterterrorism police were called to Britain's parliament on Tuesday to investigate white powder sent to an office in the building, but the powder was later found to be harmless, officials said. One office remained closed as officers carried out investigations, but the rest of the building was open, police said. Parliament is currently in recess. Quote, today the Metropolitan Police investigated a small package containing white powder on the parliamentary estate. The powder was found to be non-harmful. The House of Commons, Britain's lower house of parliament, said in a statement. Police increased security at the site after an Islamic State-inspired attacker drove a car into pedestrians on Westminster Bridge a year ago, killing 4 of them, and then stabbed a police officer to death nearby. So that's the UK story. But yeah, it's very interesting that the timing of all of them is odd. Now, here, let's throw your tinfoil hat on real quick. What if it was the same individual that sent both packages?
That's what I was saying. I was thinking that too in the back of my head. And also I was thinking, like, what if, like, just what would happen in a nation if it was a hazardous substance and it got one of these people? Like, it would, like, there would be riots and shit.
Oh yeah, there's that. You go back to shortly after 9/11, right? When they thought people were mailing anthrax.
Yeah, I remember
or
that.
Was anthrax?
Tylenol messed up too right after that. I think they like sent like samples out and they got crushed up in a package and people were freaking out.
Yep. Oh yeah, it was that was a shitstorm. But yeah, so that and somebody said it in the Facebook. Yes, I was promised a shutdown. Worst shutdown ever. I was so angry. I was so angry about the shutdown. I was like, again, because I was traveling across the nation when I was like, yes, free vacation. And then they had it fixed. But because of the disarray in trying to get it signed, so Rand Paul kept it from being passed actually before midnight, so the government technically shut down. Because the government does run out of money at that stroke of midnight at 0001 on the next day. There's no money to spend. So everybody got mass notification in government service that you are not to report into work until told otherwise. So, they passed the bill and whatnot. Well, technically, there's no money until the president signs the bill. Right? So while they delayed in getting the bill signed to him and then trying to push out the notification, you're already like halfway through the day. So I don't think anybody went to work on Monday.
Oh, damn.
Because there was no, on Friday. It happened Friday. Excuse me. I was at work on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
So Friday. So yeah, I don't think anybody went to work on Friday because by the time that the bill would, the president had signed the bill and the notification got pushed out through the proper channels because it has to come through the OPM channels saying that the government is open and the government is back to work, report to your supervisors and whatnot. It was like halfway through the day. And I don't think anybody ended up going to work on some of the organizations I'm aware of.
That would make sense.
So I think a lot of them got to admin leave or something like that. Well, it didn't cost them anything, obviously. Well, let me phrase. It didn't cost the employees anything because, well, let's face it, it's not their fault. But I think they were able to make that happen and took care of the employees. But yeah, it was apparently it was again. I was on vacation, kind of. But yeah, I heard about that story when I came back on Monday. Like, it was just a complete fiasco. So, yeah. Yay, worst government shutdown ever.
I've experienced a few of those shutdowns being in the military and like being up at like a headquarters level, and I know how insane that gets.
Oh, I couldn't imagine being at a headquarters, like actually having to put all that stuff out and then rearrange it to come all back correctly. Holy God.
Yeah, and then you being military personnel, you show up and there's not a single soul in sight, and you're just like, what the hell's going on?
So I've gone through. So I've been a contractor, military, and now a Govy, and so as like you in the military thing, I was not at a headquarters, but I saw that backside of it where we didn't have any of our GS support because I was stationed overseas at the time, and it's very interesting to not see them come in. Because, usually they're there before we are and whatnot, and they're already, burning the oil and whatnot. But to go into the building and not have any of that support that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it made my job easy because I was a cable dog kind of thing. So I was like, I can do work in offices that I normally can't do work in because they're always having meetings and shit. So it worked out for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I'd tell you the most interesting thing about the government shutdown though was that the pay thing when I was in the military is I remember seeing a paycheck for let's see how'd that work. So so it was a mid-month pay that it got screwed up. So on the mid-month I saw 55% of my paycheck of what it normally would be. So I was like, oh, that's gonna suck a lot. And then they went through the whole thing, and then on the 25th, I got another paycheck for the rest of it because they'd passed the bill, and then on the 1st of the next month, I saw my full check come in. So in the back half of the month, basically, I got 3 checks, and
was that like 2010-ish?
Yeah, that's when that was.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
I was like, that's interesting. That's not enough money for the rest of the month.
Exactly. Really hampered my beer money.
Yeah, it was man, that was interesting. But yeah, so to not see those civilians come in and whatnot, it was interesting to say the least, But yeah. Let's see. So what else we got going on in the news? Oh man, I don't know if I want to talk about this. Oh, let me talk about soldiers real quick today. All right. It's too early for this, but so I'm on the main page, right, and I'm doing my thing and reading the stuff that's coming in. Right, we get this submission, and it fucking goes off on. Oh, they're whining about having to. So they just come out of the field and they don't have a tactical vehicle or a government vehicle to pick them up and take them back to the arms room and blah 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 blah. You fucking crybabies, ruck your ass back. And this is the part that killed me. It was 6 miles. You poor fuckers, 6 miles.
What?
Yeah, they're crying about 6 fucking miles after coming out of the field.
And they're combat arms too, right?
Yeah, I think they're combat arms.
That makes it even better. That puts the icing on the cake at that point.
Yeah, so it blows my mind. Motherfuckers, I would rather ruck all day than be stuck in the arms room or at the fucking
motor pool.
At the motor pool or at the headquarters cleaning weapons. Fucking ruck your ass back in, road march your ass back in, right? Because, what is it? What's the standard? 15-minute mile, right? So you're going to be on...
Right about that.
Yeah, 50. So you figure 15-minute mile, right? An hour and a half. Hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and if you want, slow it down, and you could drag that out a little bit, right? Because then you get back to the fucking thing. You do your cleaning one, your level 1 cleaning, and then fucking go home.
Exactly. None of them fuck up Mickey Mouse games and shit.
Yeah, no, you want to bitch and cry because, I gotta walk 6 miles after coming out of the field with my gear. Motherfucker, just do it. Holy shit! Quit being
that's the new army. I don't understand it. I can't wrap my brain around that shit.
Again, I would rather be on a fucking road march, ruck march, whatever you want to call it, than be stuck at the fucking motor pool or in that company headquarters.
Hell yeah.
If there's one thing I could do, man, I could throw in a ruck and go. But holy shit.
I was stationed at Bragg for a good minute. We do the Dragon Challenge I love that shit.
Yeah.
You got 3 hours to do, I think, a 20K in or something like that. I love that shit.
Oh man, that'd been awesome. What was the weight on the ruck?
The minimum weight was 35 pounds.
Oh really?
It's a cakewalk.
God, you almost be jogging that the whole way.
Pretty much.
35 pounds. Wow. Man, they're bitching. Man, fuck you. Ruck it. Crybabies. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yes, Joseph. Rant number 1. Dirty bastards. I'm gonna start putting out. I'm gonna start putting out at the beginning of the show to see over and unders in the Facebook live chat for how many rants. Let's see here. So yeah. Oh man, that just fucking pissed me off today. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, I think I saw it on Twitter. Someone mentioned about that on Twitter, and I was like, huh? Just tilted my head sideways, kind of like, what, really, bitch?
This is what you want to cry about? 6 fucking miles. It would take you, 15, and that's 15-minute mile. That's nice pace. That's easy pace. Again, if you're tired, stretch it out a little bit, right?
Yep.
Stretch that son of a bitch out. Make it last a little while. Take your water break, take your foot break, whatever, right? You're not going anywhere. You have weapons.
Exactly.
Fucking crybabies. Holy shit. Fucking 6 miles. Oh, 6 miles. I want to cry about 6 miles.
I used to run that like more than that, like 8, maybe 10 miles when I was at Bragg. We would do the Ardennes to Longstreet run from Smoke Bomb Hill the whole way over to like Iron Mike damn near.
Yeah.
On a Friday. So that's a hell of a run, But we never complained about that shit.
No, there was so when I was at Lewis, there was a great route. There's a couple of good run routes. But then they put up the Bears. So when you saw the Bears sighting sign go up, you kind of stopped taking the one route. It was nice route. It went back. So let's see here. So they called it Engineers Hill. It was down one of the roads. Going out towards the exit 20 gate, I think it was, exit 19 gate. And man, you go up into the woods, and it was nice because it got quiet and you didn't have to do anything about it. You didn't have to, see other people out there, and you're just out there, and it was a nice run. And that's probably 4 to 5 miles on average, depending on which turn you took while you were in the woods. You could shorten it to 3 if you were in a hurry to get back because you had a deadline, but you still get your PT in. But yeah, so 3 to 5, it could be 3 to 5 depending on which way you were going. But man, that was a great run. But come mid-spring, you'd see the bear signs, the bear spotted sign go up, and you're like, yeah, nope.
Yep.
Yeah, no. But there was another great ruck route out there. You go out, Scouts Out Gate, and you'd head down. And depending on how who you were and how much time you had, you could ruck it all the way around and come back in Eastgate. Man, you had to have a good chunk of the morning dedicated to that. But it was not, it was a great road march route. Flat and easy and nice. Days I miss.
Yes.
So.
If I tried doing that nowadays, my knee would explode. So, yeah.
Yeah. Again, there are days I miss it and there are days I don't. But I do want to talk about the shutdown a little bit real quick. Because it's one of these things they just keep. This is the 5th or 6th time. I think it's the 5th time that they've done a CR. They haven't actually passed a budget yet. This spending bill to keep the government open only keeps us open until the 23rd of March. So, yeah. But
didn't they sign in the actual military budget this time, though?
I think there's something about the military budget actually getting passed and through, giving us the money we need to keep the DOD funding, as far as I know. While legislation sets out broad budget numbers for the next 2 fiscal years, lawmakers face yet another deadline on March 23rd, giving congressional appropriators time to write a detailed bill doling out funding for government agencies. So, yeah. They'll be voting on, they'll have to do another, if they don't do it prior to that, obviously it's going to come down to the 23rd again, like it always does. It always comes down to the last fucking minute because our Congress is so broken they can't actually put money together. They can't figure out how to spend the fucking money.
It's funny that, their sole purpose and job is a budget and they cannot do it.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That is their sole purpose, is the purse strings of the United States government, and they cannot fucking figure it out. Yes.
I can't wrap my brain around that shit. But all right, that's what happens when you get to vote for your own paycheck.
This is true. Alina, Facebook Live. Yes, they did vote. They did increase the DoD budget. They took off the sequestration caps that came in a couple years ago, or several years ago now, I think. That slashed all the funding and what was available to the DoD. But again, it's another short-term fix, and we have to address this issue on the 23rd of March. So what is that? 6 weeks out?
Another month. About a month.
Yeah, about 40 days. Yeah, about 40 days, give or take. Again, the one positive I saw about this though is it cleared the House at 240 to 186. Right? This last one did, and it cleared the Senate 71 to 28. Not as strong as the last one, which was 80 to 18 or some shit like that. But a very, very strong showing, at least for both houses. That gives me some hope come March when they have to readdress this, is that it's going to, it'll pass. Hopefully a real budget will be passed by then. But God only knows at this point.
Well.
Yeah, so I did want to bring that up. And yeah, again, worst government shutdown ever, because I think it should have lasted at least a week.
At least a week.
At least a week.
Maybe at least 2 days.
At least 2 days. But again, I go back to, you're sitting there, I'm talking, because I really wanted the POTUS to veto it if they came to him with another short-term plan. And just veto it based out of principle, right? Because, no, come to me with a full year's budget, or don't come back to me at all.
Exactly.
Yep. Again, yes, and continuing with that thought, Mike Everett, 240 is a great number, but I'd like to see, if he vetoed it, good luck getting a veto override in the Congress based on, 290? Yeah, 290 is 2/3 of the House of Representatives. Good luck getting that number to override a veto.
Oh God! Did you see how the media would spin that though if he did veto that shit?
Oh my God! It'd be he doesn't like the government. He's against everything. Blah 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 blah. No, actually, he's gonna force Congress to do their fucking job.
Literally, like someone broke it down to me one time. Like I never really understood the whole budget thing, and someone like broke it down Barney style to me. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they have the budget split up. I think in 12 different sections.
Yeah.
To make it easier to do, but they always want to like hold a bunch of them together, and that's not the way they're supposed to do it.
Right.
But they do that to hold certain things hostage to get what they fucking want, which I don't understand.
Right. No, and that's what everybody's upset about, is that they wanted to tie the disaster relief aid for Puerto Rico, Houston, Florida, Montana, and California. They wanted to hold that hostage against the budget. The same thing with the funding for the wall and the Dreamers and things like that. So there's all this extra garbage they want to tie to the budget, which has nothing to do with running the government. Right? That's what the budget fight is mostly about, is they want to tie all this extra stuff to the running of the government. Right? The disaster relief. No, that should be its own bill after the government's up and running, and address that later. The wall and all that other stuff. Yeah, that's a part of the budget, but that needs to be its own separate issue. That needs to be on its side. That needs to go somewhere else.
I don't understand why they always want to put all this, like, what do they call it, pork belly underneath everything.
Because if they throw it on the budget, knowing that the budget has to get passed, there's a good chance it's going to get through. Rather, if they try to do it on a standalone bill, it doesn't happen because it'll get shot down because it's not strong. Either it's not strong enough, or there's not enough support for it either partisanly or bipartisanly. So that's why they try to always throw it on as the earmarks, the pork spending and things like that. They want it to add on for that shit.
Yeah, this is why I never got into politics.
Yeah, no, it's a broken mess, and it always will be a broken mess.
Yeah, it's, like I'll stick with like engineering and business. I'll stay away from politics.
Yep. Yep. All right. Let's see here. Oh man. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here we go. So news article. So this Russian meddling thing just does not want to go away. It just does not.
Didn't they beat that horse to a bloody pulp already?
No, because now this is something new, and it says Russia. So guys, this article is from Fox News. Russia wants to meddle in midterm elections, intelligence officials say.
Okay.
Yep. So 3 top U.S. intelligence officials told a Senate panel Tuesday that they have seen. What to say here? That they have seen. Oh, sorry. Oh no, I lost the article. Here we go. There it is. I've seen Russian activity and intentions to target this November's midterm elections. The officials, CIA Director Mike Pompeo, National Intelligence Director Dan Coates, and NSA Director Admiral Mike Rogers, did not publicly describe the activity other than to say it was related to information warfare. They said they would provide more details in a classified session later Tuesday. So we can expect that to be leaked anytime tomorrow. Sorry. The officials also said that information would be shared with state and local governments as well as state election officials. Russian interference in the upcoming elections is a part of its pursuit to bolder cyber operations and false information campaigns against America and its allies, according to a new intelligence report on global threats. In the next year, Russian intelligence and security services will continue to probe U.S. and allied critical infrastructures, as well as target the United States, NATO, and allies for insights into U.S. policy, the report said. The 2018 U.S. midterm elections are a potential target for Russian influence operations. So, I want to stop right there. That's about halfway through the article. And my question is this, right? So they're worried about what actually, I don't know, because they said that the Russians did not actually manipulate the votes. Because when I think of election meddling, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, my whole understanding of this Russian meddling thing. Every time I try to get into it, my brain starts hurt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think there was proven cases in I think Michigan where people had been dead for 10 years voting.
Yeah, well, that's a democratic strategy.
Nothing gets said about that, but we're all worried about the Russians,
right?
Somehow.
And so what they're worried about is advertising or messages that the Russians, quote unquote, the Russians are sending out. So
advertisements.
Advertisements, yes. So it really blows my mind that this is what they're worried about. Okay, advertising. Really? Why aren't we worried about what other I don't know, meddling or advertisements or whatever else you want to call it at this point being thrown out there, right? This mudslinging, to use that term, that happens all the time during the elections. All this, negative advertisement, as it were, against a candidate and things like that. But yet, they're worried about what kind of information and whatnot that the Russians can pump into the 24-hour news cycle, basically, of the U.S.
So what you're saying is it should be on the news and media to take care of this, and not the government. There's no ties to the actual government. It's the media's fault then at that point.
Well, I would think it's the media's fault, but there is. So I guess it'd be both, right? Because you don't want that outside influence, but how is that influence any different than what is actually happening inside the U.S. itself? With all the news that happens, with all the, it's basically propaganda from one side or the other.
I agree with you on that.
So, how is it any different of what's actually already being done and happening? Right? They've already shown that the Russians, and that was in the article, that they didn't actually mess with the election itself. They didn't do voting. They didn't interfere with the votes. They didn't do anything like that. but the information was pumped into the stream somehow, and that's what they're upset with.
I don't know. People are going to vote for whoever they're going to go vote for. And 99% of the time, I think, like once you've made your mind up on your candidate, no amount of information is going to change that.
Right, and I would agree with that. But apparently, according to certain news sources and the way certain individuals think, that people can be swayed. Yeah, you can be swayed with logic and argument,
but not straight up like shit slinging, like you said.
Right. Oh, Hillary's a terrible person because she drinks goat's milk. Okay, no, that's not why she's a terrible person. Donald Trump's a terrible person because he said what he said.
He eats 2 Big Macs, 2 fish fillets, and a chocolate milkshake.
Wow, dude, that's a heart attack waiting to happen.
No, take it back a while. Remember when his physician had a press briefing?
Yes.
And he said it's all in the genes. I almost died laughing.
Wow. Phrasing.
Oh.
Hold on. John Nelson, it is not all tinfoil hats the first hour.
No, we're not tinfoil hat. We're just giving you what's going
not
on.
Even close. If you want tinfoil hat, tune in to Jay Ready on Saturday, and his time traveling person that he found. That was an interesting show, and that's that's still the first thing I think of when I think about you guys' show on Saturday.
Oh wow.
Oh, but yeah, I digress. But yeah, so it's very, very interesting that. Okay, so again, John Nelson, yeah, that is the thing that they brought up. The theory is that they manipulated the information for people saw it influence how they voted. Well, people are idiots. All right, I said that in the thing. People are idiots because they rely too much on Facebook, on social media, and the news itself, which you should be able to rely on, but you can't anymore, to make the decisions for them and provide them the correct information. No, if you want the information, you actually have to go research it, right? Because you will never see the same story the same way. It doesn't matter. You could cut them just facts, right? You could cut every news organization 5 bullet points and tell them to write the story based on these 5 bullet points. And the story would sound completely different from everybody. Because they want to put their own slant on it, because they want to make sure that their agenda is getting through to everybody. And that's what drives me nuts about it, is they want to make it their way. So, and again, I implore this, I speak this almost every week. Go out and get the information yourself. Do your own research, right? And it goes back to everything I talk about when you want to talk. If you're not happy with your elected officials, if you're not happy with the way things are going, get involved. Learn up on your laws, read up on everything, and find out what it takes to make it happen. And if you're not willing to get involved, if you're not willing to read up on it, if you're not willing to take a stand or do whatever, even voting, shut up, sit down, and enjoy the ride that you apparently agreed to by not speaking out. And if you do,
I say this all the time to people. If you're listening to our show right now, I almost guarantee you, you're on the internet. You have the greatest tool ever invented by mankind, and I'll say mankind, not people kind, but mankind. It's the greatest tool ever invented by us. It's got all the information that we've ever divulged right there in front of you. You can research shit all day long on there.
Yep. And and that's what blows my mind about it, is that people don't want to take the time. They want it to come to them via Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever it is, the new, whatever the new platform is that they want to talk about, right? So it really, really blows my mind that people don't want to take the time to figure it out on their own.
Yeah, do a little research. I mean, most of these people have gone to college. You've had to research shit going to college. I mean, research a subject a little bit. If it seems sketchy, research a little bit more. I always say that to people. I mean, don't always just take the information that you're given, right, for like a grain of salt, pretty much, and to go and research the shit.
Right. Yeah. And again, is there a chance we could see some meddling or whatever you want to call it for the 2018 midterms? Yeah. You know what?
Quite possibly.
But if you are looking at your officials, right? Again, this is the midterms, so we're looking at Senate seats and the whole House. Okay? The whole House is up for re-election because a term as a representative is only 2 years, so you get voted on every 2 years. So the whole House is up for re-election. If you don't like your candidate, right, and you don't like your senator, if they're up for re-election, vote them out. This is your chance.
Yeah, get rid of them.
This is your chance to actually make a difference. November is coming up.
Blows my mind, right? Presidential election, all over the news. Midterm election, not a goddamn word out of the media.
Nope. And here's the thing about the midterm elections, right? Is that fucking ice. The midterm elections are more, and you won't see that a lot out of the national. And I think it should be more advertised that this is the midterm election year. But it's very, very localized because it is your representative for your district and it's your state senator if they are up for re-election, right? If this is your cycle. So, nation, I implore you, okay? Don't rely on the news. Don't rely on Facebook. Don't rely on Twitter and things like that. Actually, go research your candidate. You can look at how they voted on certain bills, and you can read on those bills, right? The internet will tell you.
Archive.gov.
Archive.gov. Yes. Spanky, drop that in the Facebook Live. www.archive.gov. Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah, I believe it's archives.gov. Anything that's ever said by a president or elected official is logged in this shit. You can go in there. You see every fucking vote they voted for. Everything.
Thank you, Spanky. But yeah, go look it up. And if you don't like the way they voted on some of the bills after you read on what the bills are, well, obviously you've done your homework and get out. And here's the other thing, though. If you vote and your candidate loses, accept it, right? At least you are part of the system. At least you have a right to bitch at that point.
Yeah, so I get so agitated when people are bitching about an elected official. I was like, did you vote? No, I didn't vote.
Well, I didn't want to vote for anybody. Oh, the other one that blows my mind, why you threw your vote away because you voted for, Gary Johnson and Jill.
Oh. Yeah, you voted third party.
You threw your vote away.
No, I voted for who I wanted to be fucking president.
Right. I voted the way I thought I needed to vote. Me. That doesn't affect you. That doesn't affect, you cost certain. No, I didn't.
And that whole hive mind mentality, I don't agree with that shit. If you say that, you just wasted your vote, you're part of that hive mind. You need to drop that mindset, broaden your horizons a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Everybody, they don't stand a chance. Yeah, they stand a chance as anybody else getting elected to be president or into Congress or whatever else, just because they're not on one of the quote unquote major parties. Right? The Democrat and Republican parties are not the only parties in the United States.
Well, they want you to think that. They want, because they know that would limit. They have control, pretty much. They want that shit.
Yeah, but if you'd actually, again, Nation, if you'd go back and do your research, and you would look at what we have done and the nation, how political parties have evolved, and what political parties have actually won, you can see that it's not always been Democrat and Republicans. It just hasn't. It's
from the beginning of our current government. You had the Whigs, you had Democratic Republicans, you had a whole bunch, like the ones that were big on slavery abolishment and shit like that.
Oh, the abolishment. Oh man. I want to actually say you're right. It's the abolitionists. Oh man.
Abolish. I can't word tonight. I'm sorry.
Yep, neither can I. But yeah, same thing. Nation, there are more than two parties. Get out there and figure it out. Do your own research. I get daily vote on email daily.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, I got so mad about the fact that they wouldn't let Gary Johnson debate. If they would have let him debate, I'm pretty sure he would have got way more votes.
Yeah, that whole debate rule needs to change.
Yes.
That whole thing needs to. Yeah, that's a whole.
We
pain
could
in
have
the
like
ass.
15% of the popular pools, and we've like what we figured out that the pools were rigged anyways. So
Yeah. The polls were wrong.
they were totally wrong. I think they were rigged, but I mean that's just my opinion on it. But I mean,
And that's the
if you have a popular like a party coming up, they should be afforded the right to in the primary debates and shit like that. They should be
Yep.
afforded the right for that shit.
Yeah. Appello. You know what? I'm gonna chime in on that one, right? Great. He didn't know. At least he was man enough and big enough to say, I don't know what that is.
No man on the face of the earth, no man or woman on the face of the earth, they gotta be right, politically correct these days, but knows everything. You're not a fucking supercomputer.
Right.
Like, hold on, give me a sec. Let me Google that. Yeah, I mean, if you afford them the right to Google the shit, yeah, they might be able to give you an opinion on it.
And you know what? When they would have told me, oh, that's whatever, I said, not my concern. I'm concerned with the U.S. End of story. Drop mic, walk out.
Boom. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a good first hour. Holy cow.
Well, that shit went by quick. I thought we were still 30 minutes out. Shit.
No, we got 5 minutes. So we'll so Nation again tonight we have Carl Forsling from Task and Purpose during our second hour. We're going to talk to him a little while and get to know him and Task and Purpose a little bit more. So I want you to stick around for that. And then later in the third hour, we might take some phone calls. We may ask you to call in so we can talk to you and you can talk to us. And we'll have some more articles to discuss because there is some interesting stuff going on. Like, what was it? Oh, man, I lost it. I'll have it after the hour. But, I'll leave you with this tidbit to discuss in the third hour, Nation. The missing Fort Bragg family that was found in Tennessee, and the husband has been AWOL.
Interesting.
Yeah, all right. We'll leave the teaser with this. Again, this story I'm pulling from Stars and Stripes. So you would think that it's you can take it how you want, but it's Stars and Stripes. The caption is Specialist Travis Reynolds, his wife Deanna Reynolds, and their 19-month-old son Cooper were reported missing a week ago after visiting family in New York. They were found camping in Tennessee, and Fort Bragg officials report that Specialist Reynolds has been AWOL since January 17th, 2018. We'll let that one simmer over the next hour and see how that... Oh, that's even better. All right, last tag on it. Fort Bragg official confirmed Reynolds is a 35 Fox intelligence analyst with the 95th Civil Affairs Brigade. That's even more fantastic. So, Nation, if you want, go find that article. Again, that's on Stars and Stripes. Read about it a little bit, and we'll be discussing that in the third hour for sure. But right now, we're going to get ready to go to break. And when we come back, we will have Carl Forsling from Task and Purpose joining us. So at this time, let's do some shots, huh?
Yup.
Hungry for another taste. You stumble around the time you waste, and your table's overturned. Sooner or later you crash, then you burn. I think I wanna die tomorrow. And are you gonna be with me? I think I wanna die tomorrow, 'cause I'm out of time and I'm out of my mind. The simple ways come and go. Still I love the way you turn me on.
Broadcasting live from the basement of a Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
and he he's here to join us tonight. And I want to thank you, Carl, for coming on with us tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, in big picture, Task and Purposes is one of the kind of my side gig. I live in Fort Worth, Texas. Before that, I was a retired Marine. Spent 20 years flying V-22s, and then before that, CH-46s. And so I sort of turned those experiences, plus a couple other things, and occasionally write a column for Task and Purpose.
So I've got you pulled up in front of me, one of my advantages. You are an MV-22 Bravo pilot?
Yes, I was.
Freaking aviators. Yeah, I have my own opinion about aviators, but that's because I was a warrant.
Which kind?
Tech.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we're better than aviators. Anyways, so tell me a little bit about your pilot career and how you transitioned from that to what you're doing now with Task and Purpose.
Well, kind of, like a lot of people, I went to flight school, all that, the standard drill with that, and I selected CH-46s out of there, and I flew them for, basically my first 4 years, did a couple deployments, and then went to flight school, and thought I was going to just bill it some hours and get out, but, life gets in the way, and I decided to stay in, and then on the way back, the Osprey was starting to come back into service after, its long and storied history, and it looked pretty good to me, so I applied, got accepted, so forth, and then finish out the rest of my career doing Ospreys. And, along the way, I was kind of a military, a PME nerd, I guess. I mean, there's no better way to put it. So I always read the journals and all this, that, and the other. And eventually, I just got fed up about some issue. I think the first thing I ever wrote was for the Marine Corps Gazette about how the Marine Corps should do its night vision goggle training better, and, reorganize flights, so forth. And that sort of became a thing. So maybe every 6 months or so after that, something would get to me and I write an article, or like I had a, in-flight incident. So I wrote an article about that for the Aviation Safety magazine. My gear didn't come out, so I wrote about it. And after doing that for a while, Task and Purpose contacted me and decided, asked me whether I'd write a piece about the V-22. And so I did, and that sort of became a recurring thing over the next several months. And eventually they asked me to kind of start a regular column for them. So it's been about 2.5, 3 years now.
Oh, nice. So as your time as I want to stay on the Osprey thing for a second. As your time as a Osprey pilot, did you ever do time in Japan?
I did not. I was primarily East Coast. I did one tour in Myanmar, but I was never a Westpac Marine at all, actually.
Okay. So I did a little bit of time in Japan, and I can tell you that aircraft has caused more headache over there than anything else I can remember in the time I was there.
What sense?
So there was several years back, there was an aircraft incident with an Osprey, and it crashed and hit a house. And so the Japanese, a lot of them do not like the Osprey, and it being there in Japan, and then also down in Okinawa. And then while I was there, their Prime Minister Abe flew in the back one, and that set off a whole bunch of people. That the Prime Minister of Japan was riding around in the back of this Marine Corps Osprey, and it was this big to-do that he was, basically not caring for the people of Japan because he's riding around this aircraft that crashed at one point in time in a single incident and hurting individuals of Japan. So yeah, the Osprey is a very, very touchy subject with the Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it goes back a long ways. I think kind of, in my opinion, and I'm sure someone will disagree with me, kind of ill-founded. I think the statistics kind of back me up. It's military aircraft. Things are eventually going to happen, and they do happen to every type model series.
Right.
The Osprey had some early on severe mishaps that's gotten past, but that image is out there, so it's sort of like once something happens, it automatically makes the news, whereas a regular helicopter typically doesn't. And obviously Japan has its own issues about the U.S. Japan relationship and the basing there, and so anything that that can latch onto media wise, it's sells clicks or newspapers or whatever, and so the people who want to make a deal about it,
Yeah.
it's a nice tool to latch onto. So I appreciate it, and that's something that the leadership there has to deal with, but. I think it's a media issue, not really an aircraft issue. I mean, the aircraft's the same wherever you fly it. And I think as far as our forces over there, it's doing a pretty good job because they're reaching things that would have required a couple C-130s or a strat lift or all this other stuff. Now they're, moving battalions around the Pacific purely with their organic lift, which is a pretty amazing thing compared to what they had before.
Yeah. So I just Googled it really quick, and it doesn't break it down. I'm not going to get into that. That'd take too long to look through. But the V-22 Osprey had 12 hull loss accidents that resulted in a total of 42 fatalities during testing from 1991 to 2006. There are 4 crashes resulting in 30 fatalities.
Okay.
And then since becoming operational in 2007, the V-22 has had 7 crashes, including 2 combat zone crashes, and several other accidents and incidents that resulted in 12 fatalities. I don't want to dig through it, but I do know that the one in Japan was a big deal. And that's why they really don't... here, screw it, I'll look it up quick.
Yeah, I think there were 2, and I don't think any of them ended up on, damaging Japanese property or hurting any of their nationals. It just happened to be high-profile instances.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. But I just wanted to see your take on it. That was all. Because you actually being a pilot of one, knowing the capabilities of the aircraft, that's a totally different take on it. And so yeah. I find that that point very important.
Yeah, the thing I always put, one is, you look at the big numbers. I mean, it's a multi-crew aircraft that carries passengers, so any mishap involving it's going to have more people in it, right?
Right.
And then the other thing being, you can't just look at the top line number because it's the most common aircraft in the Marine Corps at this point. So you have to break it down by a per flight hour type of metric. If you just go with the top line number, it's not going to show the subtlety of that. And I think
right.
You look at the deeper numbers, it's going to stack up pretty similar to any other aircraft. But the end state as a pilot, I flew the 46, I flew the V-22, and I've flown both Afghanistan. I'd much rather do that again in a V-22 than in a 46.
Really?
I mean, whether it's the transit part, whether it's on, coming into the LZ, whether it's landing, taking off, feel much safer doing that in an Osprey than I ever did in the 46.
Wow, that's an interesting interesting perspective. Wow. So as we talk about task and purpose and whatnot, I see it's launched in 2014, and it's got a very, very awesome purpose, and I really like what it's designed to do. As you've gone forward with them and you continue to write these articles, what articles, obviously the aircraft piece, what other articles really drive you, and what really catches your interest in what you want to write about and get to the consumer?
Yeah, I'm really glad that task purpose gives me a little bit of creative leeway. So I get to sort of go between doing kind of the fun military culture or like with pop culture references and the like, and then sometimes I get to do something that's a little bit more, policy and bigger picture, strategic, operational type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that they let me go between those. I gotta confess, I love doing the pop culture ones where we get to talk about military movies, things like that. I find that anytime you touch about, military culture and, the biggest things I've ever gotten responses for are ones about veterans being entitled or, military families, all the rest. The policy stuff, people sort of like, they take it, they either agree or they disagree. But if you start talking about the dysfunction they part in the military, mm-hmm. people get riled up very quickly, even if you try and keep it as, rational as you can.
Yep. So on that take, tell me about one of your most challenging articles so far.
You mean like hard to write or like?
Not hard to write, but one that you, I guess, struggled with not personally and professionally, like what article would you say that you thought that needed to be out there, but you had a hard time actually coming to grips with?
I guess probably the one is the article I did on 22 kill or a 22 push-up challenge. Because I came into it saying, hey, it's everyone who's doing it is doing what they think is the right thing and thinks it was 2 years ago, maybe 1.5 years ago, when everybody, your entire Facebook, Twitter, whatever, was just overloaded with everyone doing their daily uploads of their push-ups.
Right.
And I kind of just asked the question is like, okay, so you've done your push-ups, you've made this awareness, in quotation marks, awareness. And where does that go? How's that stopping the next guy from committing suicide? And, again, you're finding like these people are trying to do their best, but at the same point, my challenge was say like, okay, you've done your push-ups. Now what are you actually doing to stop the next guy from committing suicide? And putting that challenge out there to do something more substantive, whether it's donating your money, donating your time to an outreach organization or just calling your friends and not just, glorifying yourself on social media. So trying to reconcile those things. I don't know whether I succeeded, but it definitely generated some discussion, and hopefully somebody actually, did a little extra because of it.
Yeah, no, and I pulled up, I went and found that article as you were talking about it, and I agree with some of your points in there. What does the Ice Bucket Challenge actually accomplish?
Well, I mean, the Ice Bucket Challenge, the big difference was you pass that on and you challenge that person to donate money and do the challenge, right? So that was the difference. They raised several $1 million. I can't remember the figure off the top of my head, but it was a large sum of money.
114 million in 2014.
Demonstrably increased the amount of research in that disease, right?
Yep.
So it wasn't the ice bucket. It wasn't the funny videos that made it important. It was that they raised this much money to further the cause.
Right.
The 22 push-up challenge would have been great if they just said, here's $22, and oh, by the way, I'm giving $22 a month to disabled American veterans or whatever other veteran organization is your thing, but to make a real difference in people's lives, not just, a social media day. Right.
Now, while we're on that, do you think if it would have been, your stance would have been different had it been tied to that, like the ALS challenge, where you donate and then you do your push-up challenge or whatever it was?
Oh yeah, my stance would have been completely different if they'd said, made that part of their thing instead of just trying to go viral. My stance would be 100% supportive, and that was kind of my thing. And I think some people took it very negatively, but again, there's a little subtlety there. It's, hey, it's well-intentioned, but did something. I don't know if you can quantify it, and that's part of the problem.
Right.
We still don't know what that accomplished. But if they'd said, hey, we did $22 a month from, 1 million people, that's a shit ton of money.
Yep.
It's making, this program for veterans now exists because of that. That would have been amazing, but they missed that opportunity.
I totally agree that they missed the opportunity. That's something that, it drives me nuts. And I say this a lot, and Pookie can vouch me on this. We are the largest community there is in the U.S. Hands down.
Right.
What are we actually doing to help each other out, to give each other that hand up that's needed? And I agree with you on this stance. It spread some awareness, but like you said, what did we do to actually help our brothers and sisters that actually need that help?
Right. And I think veterans sometimes are our own worst enemies. Are basically complete dicks to each other. To put it bluntly.
Yeah.
And some of it's good. I'm not going to be totally stiff about it. I mean, obviously, some of it's just good-natured ribbing, but you can just see it on social media. If you're, whatever military site you frequent or Facebook group, whatever, if there's a disagreement, say, I were to do it, if I were to make a comment saying, you know what, I disagree for this, and this reason, the first thing someone's going to do is look at my profile, say, oh, you're an officer, or, oh, you're a pilot, you don't know shit about this. And it's not like I'm commenting about, squad tactics, something
right.
that I'm not going to try and talk about. I could be talking about military benefits. I could be talking about aircraft or whatever. And they'd still say, well, you're soft because you're an officer or you're in the wrong service or whatever it is. Pick it. If it was someone else, it'd be three different things, right?
Yeah.
But they'll still figure out how to discredit someone because of they're not part of the sub tribe within the tribe, rather than taking their points at face value.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's starting to get to that where everybody wants to tax everybody rather than, and we were talking about this a little earlier during the first hour, is that it's become that extreme that quickly for certain people. Like that's what they want to attack. Not how they want to solve the issue. They want to attack. They just want to attack the individual that presented a problem, or like you said, you brought up something that was completely not relevant to your job or MOS or your pay rank or your pay grade. But that's what they want to choose to attack because apparently you don't understand those things.
Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of like it's universal across the internet. Obviously, it's the ad hominem thing. It's easier to attack the person than try and break down their points and make an argument.
Yep.
But I think it's probably a little bit more tragic. And I think, when it's blue on blue within veterans that can't even, treat each other respectfully, when there are these big issues that could be dealt with, it is kind of a shame that people don't just take a step back and realize it's, whatever minor disagreements there are, hopefully you're on the same team trying to generally work towards the same goals for the community.
Right. All right. So the next article that you wrote that I find interesting, the Army needs to grow a pair already and say no to beards.
Yeah.
So tell me about this article and what inspired it.
The beard trends, I'm not beards in general, I could take or leave. I mean, I do my shave vacations when I don't, have a week off of work, whatever. But it's been overdone, and I think it's the operator culture or the glorification of that has sort of gotten out of hand. And I think it's first it started with people with legitimate operational need. Your SF, and other special operations forces. Okay, they're working in a Middle Eastern or Central Asian culture. They need to have beards. Okay, got it, fine. And maybe there's some regular advisors that also need to do that. Got it. But then it sort of branched out, and then it was the contractors and the OGAs. And it's like, oh, it's a cool look. We'll get beards. And then, it just multiplied. Now everyone's like, they think there's going to be some sort of, the badass will rub off on them if somehow they don't shave for a few days. And it's one of those things, like, it's just not I think people want the beard thing because it looks cool, not because, it's a better thing. It's like, why are we changing this? Okay, if the whole culture changes and we go back to like Civil War days when everyone has huge ass sideburns for 10 years. Okay, maybe it's time to change the rule. But, it's a trend, and I don't think the military should change their grooming standards because of a trend that's probably going to be short-lived. That was my big point.
No, to quote you, let's make this easy for Army brass. As long as you're considering allowing any old soldier to look like Grizzly Adams, I love it.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So let me ask you this then: what is your take on the chic thing?
Sorry, what thing?
The Army. I don't want to pronounce. I'm going to pronounce it. The six. Yeah.
Be honest, I'm not a huge fan. Again, there's always sort of a middle ground. I mean, I'm not one of these people who's like everything in the world's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it kind of is becoming one. I think there is room for limited waivers for certain religious practices.
Right.
I haven't studied the Sikh issue in depth enough to know how many of them are there in the whole Army, et cetera, to see what the impact is.
Mm-hmm.
I just sort of take a skeptical eye. I think, we do make some allowances, for devout Jewish troops. So they can wear yarmulkes in certain circumstances. That's fine.
Right.
But on the other hand, it doesn't have as big an impact on grooming standards as full beards and long hair.
Right.
So I'm not going to second guess the Army on it. Hopefully they've put some more thought into it. But again, I'm a little bit skeptical of making that, because again, on this particular issue, it's, beards are coming in anyway. Now you sort of let that that light through, and now everyone's gonna say, well, the Sikh guy can do it. Again, like I said in the article, well, at least he has a sincere religious belief.
Yeah.
You just want to look like a hipster.
Right.
It's kind of two different things.
I will say the point on that is I have never seen a Sikh beard look unkempt or nasty.
Right.
They're always well maintained, well groomed, and they look like they could hold a glass of scotch on them.
I think they also, because they're a small group and they know that they are highly visible, probably they self-police and just try and keep in line and try and present a good image.
Right.
Again, there's always like, okay, Spec Ops does it, but yeah, they're a very small organization. They can keep things kind of walled off.
Yep.
You let let's just admit, not everyone in the military is of equally high caliber. And now you've got some guys trying to push the lines. Now, in addition to all your other uniform discrepancies and what have you, now you've got to be the beard police. And it's like, really, do we want to have our staff NCOs having to do this and measure beards and judge how well they conform to the jawline or whatever standard they set? It's just kind of another waste of time.
Right. Agreed. I mean, it comes back to haircut police and all that other stuff. And that's you're wasting valuable training time, or you hit it on the head.
Or just mental energy. It's like, there's only so many rules you can really take a stand on. And you just add more and more. Okay, now we've got to measure, just the mustaches were hard enough sometimes in theater. Now you've got to be, have a geometry degree to figure out whether the beard's in regs. It gets stupid.
Agreed. But I do like the take on it, and I agree with your take on it from that standpoint. The last article that really caught my eye, because I really agree with you on this, the United States should offer millennials 1 year enlistment to test out military service. So.
Oh yeah, that one got some hate. I'll tell you that.
Well, and here's my take on it: is I actually agree with this kind of thing. My take on it would be I would want individuals coming of age, i.e. 18 years old. It doesn't have to be in military service, but some type of public service, whether that be a first responder of some kind, police, firefighter, trash person, something of that nature, where they actually have to provide a public service, to understand what it really takes to be a part of this nation.
Right.
Now, my question for you on this, and again, I just pulled up the article and I haven't been able to go through it, is where would you put them? Because if you think about it, basic, for boot camp and basic training are 8 to 10 weeks long.
Right. And then you take another, anywhere from 8 to, up to 26 weeks, depending on the MOS.
Right.
So you've got a couple things there. And if you look at the article and some of the links in there, Australia's kind of got it as, they do a limited list of MOSs. So they limit it to the ones that only take limited amount of schooling.
Right.
And then they, it sort of becomes they limit their deployability, which again makes a very niche program. But even with all that, they still find that 3/4 of the people that sign up for the year decide to re-up again. So it's productive for them, and it gets, people who might not otherwise want to try it into the military. So I think the kind of numbers speak for themselves. Like, no, people make the sort of comments like, oh, well, this school and that school takes over a year. It's like, no, you don't let people do that. If they're going to sign up for that, you either make it a re-enlistment incentive for the 1 year person, or you just leave it off the table altogether, and make people, enlist for a longer period to get those more sophisticated jobs. But the whole idea is, a lot of kids are out there, and I know everyone goes on millennial hate, but it is a cultural change. Like, people don't spend as long in a given job. So at least, and signing for 4 years is a big deal. So they give them the year. They, at least in Australia, 3 out of 4 of them like it, and they re-up anyway. So it's not really a wasted investment. And you've really not ventured that much. And plus, you get more people out there familiar with the military, even those people that don't stay.
Right. No,
So it works out. And the national service bit's a whole other debate and a much bigger issue. But the 1 year thing, you try it out, maybe do a pilot program of a few thousand and see how it works out.
Yeah. No, I think when you brought that up, that 3 out of 4 choose to stay in the Australian program, I think that's a great measure of its one being successful, that it does show promise. and everybody, like you said, the jobs thing. Well, you know what? We always need guys sweeping motor pools. We always need guys doing, simple things. There are those MOSs that only take 3 to 4 weeks. Fuel handler,
Yeah.
driver, simple things. And like you said, what if you complete that program, right, and you want to stay in, depending on your test scores and whatnot, apply for another job.
Yeah, and you already know this guy. The biggest attrition's in the first 6 months of being enlisted, right? So, yes, assuming the guy got through boot camp, got through initial training, didn't get in trouble, didn't do anything crazy wrong. If he made it through all that point, you've already established he's not going to be a problem later on. So you've got known quantity. And the other thing is, maybe some kids who would have gone to college try this 1 year thing instead, do really well in the military, and then they apply to an officer program. But just like Mustangs now, but you'll have more of them to choose from. And now you can say, okay, this guy's a known quantity, and maybe we're going to invest in a college education for this guy. So it can benefit in other ways too.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing is that it could give college kids an opportunity to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they come in as enlisted, right? And then they already have the degree. So they would apply to for Army, they'd apply for OCS at the end of their year if they decide to try and make a go of it.
Right. There's different combinations you can do, but again, the military, you go out in the civilian world, people have huge misconceptions, and it's a lot to ask somebody to make a 4 or 6 or an 8 year commitment, sort of on faith. But you offer some of them some more, maybe a little taster. I think there might be some payoff. Again, I think I'm not going to say, hey, I'd write a check for $1 billion on it right now. But
right.
I think, all these things about how the workforce is changing, I think the military still has this 19th century approach to personnel. So we need to try a lot of things to be more agile and get people in the military that we might not have found before. Guys, the whole thing, okay, you join when you're 18 or 22 if you're an officer, and you stay for 20 years and, until you retire. Well, maybe that's not the way we need to do it. Maybe you go in for a few years, go out, learn some other stuff, come back in, later on. We need to figure out what the optimum is in the new century, if you will.
So my question would be, what branch would you want to start this in? Or what branch would you want to do a test pilot in?
I would say that and this might betray a little bit of my bias. I would say the Army and the Navy would be best suited for it.
Yeah.
Because they both have shorter boot camps, and they also have so you have less overhead to begin with, and then you have and both those services have a few more jobs that involve, let's just say, kind of lower skill labor that you can apply these pilot programs to a little bit faster.
Right.
I think the Air Force sort of has this technical halo effect they hold themselves to, and the Marine Corps is culturally has its own issues, just say, as far as changing its intake of personnel, that it would be a higher barrier to entry on that one. Let's just say that.
That's awesome. I love how you throw it. It's in the culture. I was going to say brainwashing, but culture is a good way to put it too.
Well, it is the most brainwashed service, for good or bad. It is,
No, I think, Pookie, what is your take on this?
I mean, oh God, I personally think it should be a mandatory thing, 2 years. As soon as you turn 18, 2 years, spam. Until you're 20, 21 time frame, you should be doing a public service. But that's just the way I feel about it. Israel does it. I think the Republic of Korea does it. There's plenty of countries. I think Russia even does it. It should be something that's bam, set in stone.
Well, I think the only thing I have about, I'm not opposed to national service or incentivizing it, but I always think the mandatory one is all right, so say you have 2 years of mandatory public service, whether it's military or cleaning national parks or whatever it is, or teaching. And it's okay, someone comes up there and they're I'm not working. And you say, I'm going to do this, this, or this. No, I'm not working. All right. So what do you do? And then are you going to throw them in jail? Because you're going to have to build a whole lot more jails to hold all those people who don't want to do this stuff.
Right.
Or, like the old days when we still had a draft. I mean, again, I don't think this is a desirable means of discipline for a volunteer organization. But when it was a draftee organization, they would physically lay hands on people. And that's how you deal with someone who doesn't want to be there. And we don't have those options now. And people can, can make all this sort of societal observations about how soft we are, but it is what it is, right?
Right.
You're not going to, all the mothers of America aren't going to let you, like, kick the crap out of their 19-year-old until they sweep the floor in the barracks. So with that as your constraint, it's like, then it just becomes sort of
it boils down to kind of like the whole selective service thing for like males in the United States. We have to sign up for it. If we don't, we're barred from any kind of like government jobs down the road.
But all you have to do now is sign a postcard. No one thinks they're actually going to get drafted, right?
That's true, but you do it. Yeah, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, like you have to serve these 2 years public service. You don't have to sign up for selective service at that point, but you do your 2 years.
Oh no.
Again, the war has changed so much. You're not going to be able to use them in the military because it's even the lowest skilled job in the military is more skilled than many. It was
Exactly.
3 decades ago, right? So it's like, okay, you can't use them all in the military because it's not like you can just hand everyone a rifle and tell them to go north like you used to. Now it's a lot more sophisticated. So you're going to have to put them in the civilian sector, I don't know, picking up trash in the parks or something. And is that really a good way to employ everybody? I'm not sure the payoff's there,
No, I see what you're saying.
That's interesting. So the host, Minx, is trying to call in, and I can't get it to answer for some reason.
New Skype. I would like to take it back a little bit though with the beard thing. Like I really always thought that like being in like I'm in a field scenario and I'm not in danger of like any chemical attacks. Why should I have to shave? It's like really like not sanitary.
Yeah, I mean, I think that again, that's sort of the battle between uniformity and all that versus I mean, there are lots of things in the military that are sort of pain in the ass, are inconvenient. I mean, the Marine Corps, from wearing boot bands or does it really make sense? Yeah, in most environments, are there ticks everywhere? Not everywhere. So why do you have boot bands? Because they look sharp, and that may be a silly example, but you do it because that's the way it is.
I understand.
Yeah. So, hello, Minx.
Hi.
Well, nice of you to join us tonight.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm just now getting here. Hello, everybody. I waved like a dumbass because I'm an idiot. Completely forgot I'm not on camera, but I still waved like an idiot. Oh.
So, Minx, Carl Minx, she's usually my normal co-host.
Hi. I'm so sorry I'm late. I had to go do surgery and shit.
As long as it wasn't anything important, right?
Yeah,
so.
no.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Saving lives and stuff. So, Minx, I know you have an opinion on this, and we were just talking about this, Carl's article here, about letting millennials try out the military based on a 1-year enlistment. What now? My question to you on this, Minx, is what is your take on that?
What would be the purpose of it? Like that's my whole thing. Why would we spend that much money training these kids who, let's face it, the majority of them are going to get out after the year, so they're not even going to really try.
Well,
I mean, the numbers say that they, at least when they tried in Australia, the majority of them stayed in. So the whole thing is now maybe you're getting a whole group of kids that wouldn't have considered it before because they didn't want to, risk 4 years of lives. Now you're getting, some kid who was maybe on the fence, and hey, now 3/4 of them decide that they like it, and now they're a little bit more committed, and they're not, because right now, on the flip side, you get a lot of people do 4 years and they realize it sucks after 6 months, and then they become your, low performers through the whole rest of their enlistment.
I mean, okay, so all right. So in that aspect, I guess I agree with, and that does make sense. But I don't like how Grey Cloud phrased it.
But how did I phrase it?
I don't like your usage of the word millennials, because now I think of just whiny crybabies.
That's the name of his article.
No, as soon as you say millennials, that's all I think about is motherfucking Antifa and pussy hats and fucking Tide Pod eaters.
See, that was oddly enough. I wrote a whole other thing about how we got to stop giving millennials so much shit, because I think it's just old man syndrome. I think people have been saying the next generation sucks since
the next
people
generation
started keeping track of it, right? Everyone thinks, like, the World War II vets thought the Korean vets were wusses, and then Vietnam thought Gulf War and so forth, and it's going to be that way forever. And I think it's just the internet's made it worse, and they're the same as everyone else. And by and large, I think they are I think the numbers show they actually are smarter than most of the groups that came before them. So it's just, I think they get a lot of unwarranted hate.
I think the millennials being smarter than everyone before them, I think that is debatable. I think they've definitely been brainwashed better than ever before them when it comes to certain social aspects. Not so much I don't know, interpersonal aspects. I think when it comes to social stuff, they've been severely brainwashed.
Well, I mean,
in case they give more shits about fucking what happens to some hooker with the name Kardashian and who's fucking trashy baby daddy dramas going on in that family than the State of the Union address.
I think most people don't care about the State of the Union address. I think it's.
I mean, they care more about that than they do about what's going on in the political side of their country, or what's actually going on in the government side.
Well, no, I mean, when they do try to be activists, right? The first thing, where you let the pussy hat or whatever it is, it's like, oh, they're being snowflakes. Or it's like, well, they're doing exactly what everyone says they're supposed to do, is be involved, right? So it's like they're sort of damned if they do and damned if they don't. And just the being smarter. I mean, they do have deficiencies. I think the physical fitness piece is definitely a challenge. But on the other hand, it's like, I think when I was doing the article, I looked up the trend for ASVAB scores. It's like, it just keeps going up. I mean, and I look at the school I went to versus the SAT scores they ask for now versus the one they used to ask for, and so forth. And for officers, the officer programs, what you need to get in now, it's like the standards just keep going up for academics and intelligence, so it's like, and that's what is probably going to be more important going forward. Granted, there's other challenges, but every generation their culture changes, right? So there's always an adjustment, and that's just the way the world works. It's not because they're millennials. It's just that we're old people and we bitch about them.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly. That's totally to get off my lawn.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Pookie, what other questions do you have for our lovely guest?
I mean, we beat around the bush. The only thing that I really would like to know is, I'm so curious. I love avionics. I'm just a nerd. When you go from I guess horizontal to vertical with the tilt rotors, is it more like flying a plane in one mode and then flying a helicopter the next? How's that work?
Well, I mean, overall, I describe the Osprey as it's an airplane that can land vertically. It's not a helicopter that flies fast. So most of the time, it's more like an airplane. Now, when you convert from airplane to, we call it VTOL, but most people call it helicopter, the computer is actually changing it's called flight control laws, so that when you start out at horizontal or 0 degrees, all the controls work just like an airplane. Flaperons, rudder, elevator, all the rest. And then as the nacelles move up, then it gradually switches to be more like a helicopter type flight controls, where the rotor discs are actually turning in response to your controls. The one thing that does change from a helicopter, though, is helicopters, you pull for more power, you push for less power. An airplane, you push for more power, pull for less power. So it's reversed for power, right? So, but once you're in a hover, it flies like a helicopter, except for the power channel, the collective channel.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a very stable one, because I mean, when they as a helicopter pilot, I was used to it, but the jet guys, we transitioned to Ospreys, they're always like, I don't know what you helicopter guys keep making such a big deal about hovering, because it's really easy. And it's like, no, it's easy in an Osprey because it's got all these computers doing the stabilization for you. And in a helicopter, hovering still really hard. So,
yeah. I was like always curious, because I do like I said, I'm an avionics nerd. I do flight sims and shit like that, and I was like, it's so different flying a helicopter and then flying an airplane. The controls are so much different, and I was always confused. Like, is it the same? Like, I don't know. I guess with the computer and everything, I guess it makes it easy then.
No, I mean, I think the way I sum up flying an Osprey is it's easy to fly, it's hard to fly well. So I think anyone with a pilot's license, I could probably teach you to fly an Osprey around the pattern safely within a couple hours. But in order to employ it tactically, you have to pretty much fly everything that a helicopter pilot can fly, but also all the fixed wing principles. So you have to do all this ground ski maneuver, work around obstacles, all low altitude things, but you also have to know, airspace. You have to know to fly long distances, long distance navigation. You have to fly aerial refueling like an airplane does. The threat reactions are more like an airplane once you get away. So you have to know both worlds equally well, and to bring those together is the hard part about being an Osprey pilot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's wow. More power to you, man. That's wow.
No, I don't do it anymore. I got the young guys to do it for me. So.
Yeah. All right. I guess so. My last question for you tonight, Carl, is what's the funnest article you've written so far?
You know what? It's either probably again, there's the policy articles and there's the fun article.
Mm-hmm.
The two fun articles, most fun articles were the ones about the types of majors, and then the other one is how officers drink at each stage of their careers.
Please,
so
that's the one I want you to elaborate on.
I need to know about this.
Yes, we need to talk about how officers drink in their stages of career.
All right, so I can't the exact. Basically, from lieutenant, I went through lieutenant through colonel, and sort of started off okay. Lieutenants, you're right out of college, you're drinking like your crappy Coors and your Miller Lights and whatever, and then you're a captain, and you start drinking like legit microbrews, and some of you become like complete microbrew snobs and start doing the whole home brew and being really obnoxious about it. And then when you're a major, you start to like, okay, I got married, and I'm going to drink wine with my wife and go out to the valley on the weekends and all this stuff. And then by the time you're a colonel, you're just drinking straight liquor and driving drunk because everyone back has your back. So sort of traces a progression through one's career.
That's awesome. That's good shit. Oh, Minx, do you have any questions for Carl?
I don't, because I'm afraid I'm gonna ask questions or reiterate questions that I've already been asked, and I don't want to be that person. I'm sorry that I'm late.
That you're late.
I'm really sorry. My surgeon was being a douchebag and was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna add on this case after my clinic," which of course ran late. So God motherfucking damn it! And I'm really sorry I missed you, Carl.
No problem. I'll do it some other time then.
For sure. Carl, on behalf of the WTF Nation radio team, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It was great to have you on. It was great to get insight into not only your career, but your thoughts on the articles you write and why you write them, because I think it's important for individuals that have your type of mindset and your I guess your perspective and glasses, the way you see things through your lenses, to put that information out there for soldiers and veterans to consume. Because let's face it, we're not always getting a clear-cut picture of everything with the current 24-hour news cycle.
Right.
And a fresh perspective from somebody who's been in the military, who has done their time from both aspects, is great to see. So again, I thank you for coming on with us tonight, and I want to thank you for your contributions to the community as a whole.
Hey, you're welcome, and thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it.
All right, and Nation, with that, we're going to cut to a break, so stay tuned, and we will be back shortly. Shots.
If you bleed, you won't feel it, and you won't see nothing at all. And you can fight, you can hide that you're naked. If you bleed, you won't feel it, you won't see me at all. You can fight, you can hide that you're naked. If you bleed, you won't feel it, you won't see me at all. You can fight, you can hide that you're naked.
I bleed, don't treat me like an object. I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object. I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go from my throat. They spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down, like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed inside of a box, like I'm inside Fort Knox. Every time that I'm there, I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
All right, Nation, we are back for our third and final hour. Last hour we had, I just lost the name. Carl Forsling, excuse me, with us from Task and Purpose, talking about some of the articles he had written and whatnot. And the way he took on it. And we also had Minx join us in the last couple minutes of the last hour. So, Minx, how are you? Other than tired and exhausted from work.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up right there. Yeah, I'm fucking tired. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I've got to say about that. Yeah.
You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Okay. So So really quick, public service announcement. For those of you with children, if your child has to go in for surgery, do not, under any circumstances, I don't give a shit how big of a goddamn tantrum they're throwing, do not give them anything to eat or drink. There's a very good fucking reason for this. There's a reason why we tell you multiple times before surgery, do not eat or drink anything the day of your procedure. There's a reason why we ask you multiple times before we roll you back into the operating room, have you eaten today? Like, we almost had a kid die on my fucking table.
Holy shit.
Because their fucking parent gave them a full bottle of milk hours before their procedure. So we went to insert the breathing tube. Child threw up.
Yeah.
And inhaled everything that it threw up.
Oh, shit.
I was about to beat that on the head. Why? But you explained it, so I don't need.
That's exactly why. Like, you will throw up, you will aspirate. So whatever you throw up will now be inside your lungs. That's not good.
Fuck.
So this child had fucking milk in its lungs.
So you guys went into emergency CPR or whatever?
I wanted to kill somebody.
Fuck me. God, I hate stupid people.
Oh, I wanted to kill somebody. So let's see. So there's that. Let's see. One of my docs threatened to cut off someone's foot today.
Oh, that's wow.
Fun. Yeah, he
That's
like
awesome.
straight up told the patient, like, I'm coming after your fucking foot. I'm gonna cut it off.
Say what?
Yes.
Wait, now,
Oh,
because he needed that surgery or because the patient was being an asshole?
Oh, the patient's being non-compliant.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, about 4 weeks ago ish, we had a patient come in with some fractured bones in their foot, and we fix them. And we tell the patient non-weight bearing, 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Patient comes in for a post-op appointment. Yeah, 3-4 weeks later, without their walking boot.
Oh, shit.
And doc goes, "Where's your boot?" Patient says, "Oh, this is the first day I haven't worn it." Yeah, okay. So we take x-rays. It's worse than before we started. Like, it's fucking worse.
How's that possible?
It fucking is. But the patient's like, "It hurts." Well, no shit, you dumbass. Like, you've been walking on it. You're not letting it fucking heal. You motherfucker. So then we spend, a couple hours yesterday fixing, like, taking everything out, all the hardware that we put in, like, literally a month ago. We take it all out and replace it with brand new hardware, and we keep the patient overnight. And apparently, doc goes and checks on the patient today, and sees the patient up walking around with a walker and putting weight on their newly fixed foot. And so my doc lost it. He's like, "I'm gonna fucking cut your goddamn foot off if you keep walking on it."
That's awesome.
You can't fix stupid. You can't.
Stupid. You just can't.
So I told my doc, I was like, next time you catch him walking, just threaten him with a disarticulation where we take it right at the hip. You whole leg. You lose your.
Oh.
You lose your leg privilege.
Wow, now it's a privilege. Awesome.
You lose the whole leg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Ouch.
Because obviously you can't be trusted with it.
You don't know how to use it properly. We're going to take it from you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You did not.
No shit.
You did not take care of it. Therefore, ergo, Latin, you don't get it.
We're going to assign it to somebody who doesn't have a leg and see if they can take care of better care of it.
That's exactly how it works. That's exactly how it works.
I like this plan.
This seems legit. Like, there's like 1,000 combat veterans like stumbling around with like a leg missing. If you're too stupid to take care of your leg,
we're gonna give it to
the
somebody
combat
else.
veteran gets it.
Yeah, I like this plan.
If you're too stupid to take care of your fucking feet or legs, Minx is gonna come for you.
Oh
wait, no.
Oh God.
Bad phrasing. Bad phrasing.
Phrasing.
Come on, Minx.
It's all good.
I'm gonna beat my leg up now.
Wow. Wow, this just went downhill in a hurry. All right, so back onto the story I was teasing earlier before the break between first and second hour. Missing Fort Bragg family found in Tennessee. Husband has been AWOL. That is the headline in the Stars and Stripes article. Raleigh, North Carolina Tribune News Service is who's contributing to the story for Stars and Stripes. 3 members of a Fort Bragg family who were reported missing a week ago in New York after visiting relatives were found in Tennessee on Monday morning, and Fort Bragg officials confirmed specialist Travis Reynolds has been AWOL for almost a month. Almost a week after Deanna Reynolds' relatives filed a missing persons report, the Utica Police Department in New York confirmed that the Reynoldses, wow, that's an interesting way to say that, were found in Tennessee early Monday and are in quote-unquote good health. A Fort Bragg official confirmed Reynolds is a 35 Fox intelligence analyst with the 95th Civil Affairs Brigade. Way to go, Civil Affairs. Way to keep track of your people. Reynolds left voluntarily and has been marked AWOL since January 17th, a Fort Bragg official said Monday. The Rio County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee found the family at a campsite, according to Lieutenant Brian Cormato of the Utica Police Department. Reynolds, 25, his wife Deanna, and their 19-month-old son, Cooper, were last seen by Deanna Reynolds' family on 5 February in Utica, WTVD reported. Utica police said her family had not heard from her since February 6th, according to the Fayetteville Observer. Her family filed missing persons reports for her and her son. The Reynoldses were traveling with their 2 dogs, a husky and German shepherd, according to several news reports, and were believed to be headed toward Niagara Falls, New York, in a 2016 silver Honda Fit with a North Carolina license plate. Police did not suspect foul play. The Utica Police Department has been in touch with officials at Fort Bragg about the family's disappearance, the Fayetteville Observer reported. Now, my question is he really AWOL? Did he really go AWOL?
I mean, if he's away from the unit, he is technically AWOL.
Right. So, obviously he did this the wrong way, or the right way, because he took his family with him at least. My question is, so here's my take on this. Is the wife culpable in this situation?
Is what culpable?
Is the wife culpable in this situation?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's not part of. She does not fall under UCMJ. Period.
So you don't think she was a part of it originally?
I mean, she could have been a part of it, but she's not going to be held liable for it. I mean, she doesn't fall under UCMJ, so there you go.
Okay. I mean, that's my question is, do you think this could have been much more than him not wanting to be anymore? Oh, yeah, baby, I'm on leave. It's fine. I've got however many days. But do you think there was more
outside influence?
Yeah.
Is what you're trying to go with?
Do you think that she had something to do with it rather than it just being him and being done with wanting to be AWOL?
I think it could honestly be a combination of both. Like for all we know, she probably has been threatening him with divorce or threatening to leave him if he didn't spend more time with her, if he didn't fucking go with her to fucking, X, Y, and Z, or didn't spend time with her, fucking whatever. I feel like I'm repeating myself. It could be, so it could be a combination of both, where he was either didn't tell her that he did not have that amount of time leave saved up and is like, oh yeah, no, it'll be fine, babe, don't worry, I've got leave approved, and like really it was only like supposed to be like a weekend pass, which turned into a month-long pass,
right?
But during that initial pass or whatever, that's when trouble started happening with her, where she was like, if you want to stay married to me, you're going to continue to, like, you're going to stay with me, and, we need to go do this and blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? All I know is that he's fucked.
Yeah, I agree. If it comes back and that he is... either way, they're saying he's AWOL. He's going to get screwed.
Yeah,
and he should be.
It honestly, it does not matter. It does not matter to It does not matter to the United States Army what her involvement was, because again, like Pookie said, she does not fall under UCMJ.
Right.
UCMJ could give two shits about her. She is not held under the same standards as her husband. That being said, that like and that's where civilian spouses do have like power over their active duty, counterparts.
Depend upon us.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, and so now she's just being a real cunt because now she, like, if this is her fault, then this whole him being fucked is really her fault.
Right. And that goes back to, depending on how they want to pursue this, and if, like, they want to go with the zero tolerance policy and boot his ass out for it, then, his whole family's fucked at that point. Because he will, more likely be either a big chicken dinner or a dishonorable discharge, and you don't get anything for that. Fucking nothing.
Yeah, well, there's always a way to reverse the dishonorable discharge to that other than honorable. It always happens. I've seen a guy one time, like, he was like blatantly should have been dishonorably discharged 2 years later, other than honorable. He like fought it in court. I don't know how it works, but whatever.
Right, but so there's still a loss of benefits with that, though.
Oh no, totally. I agree with you on that.
But so if they do decide to, zero tolerance him and, charge him, try him, and boot him based on this AWOL, he's fucked his whole family at that point. And seriously, you're in a civil affairs brigade?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so hard.
It goes back to what we were talking about the first hour. What is so hard in that civil affairs brigade that you got to, cry and disappear?
You had to mop this motor pool. You had to mop the motor pool while
it was raining.
That was so hard.
Yeah. Oh, it's horrible. Oh my God, it's terrible. No, I'm sorry. Get your ass back to the motor pool and make it happen. There is nothing so bad that you should ever be AWOL for. Ever.
Well, no. I could go to an extreme, but I'm not going to go there.
I know you could. Let me rephrase. Illegal, there's nothing that's legal, moral, and ethical that you should ever be AWOL for.
Exactly.
Right. So it blows my whole mind. And then Minx has got a great point, as we've wrapped up by that second hour, and the millennial concept got her triggered, is that would be my big fear during that whole year, going back to that article that Carl wrote, right? Letting these guys in for that year. But he did have a point. Once you're through basic training and whatever AIT they decide to use as this one-year trial program, whether it be fueler, cook, whatever, one of those short AITs, now you're at that point where, they get to that 6-month point and they're like, no, I'm done. I'm going away, right? Now you got, those individuals just running around or disappearing, and we don't have the manpower to track all them down. We just don't. So you let them go AWOL, you issue the bench warrant, they're DFR'd after 30 days as a deserter, and then if they get popped, because that's a federal warrant at that point, if they're popped for whatever, it comes up, they get arrested, they're returned to the nearest base and discharged, processed out of the military correctly, and given their paperwork to separate them, and it's marked on their file. So that's the one part, and when Minx brought that up, that's the one part that really stuck with me, is that something we could actually be facing if that were to be put in effect? Or do the numbers from the Australian trial, the Australia trial, support that it might be worth something pursuing?
Well, that's what I said earlier, is like put it down like the natural, I said natural selection. Oh God. The what is it? God damn, I'm so screwed up. The draft shit that all men have to sign up for. All men have to sign up for the draft, right? At 18.
Yep.
Yeah,
selective service. Selective service, that's it. Thank you. So selective service, just make it mandatory when you hit 18. You do 2 years in the military. Is it that hard?
No, I don't. I don't think it's that hard. Again, and Carl brought up some good points. You pick certain MOSs that are only allowed at that point, right? Infantry cook, fuel handler, motor, some kind of motor tech guy, a driver, things like that.
Yeah, like low-level entry jobs.
Low-level entry jobs.
2 years service.
Right. Something that you can do your 2 years, and the Army is not wasting a crap ton of money in putting you in. And then when you go to, when you hit that 2 years, you're coming up on it, and you're thinking, yeah, I kind of like this. I like this, what's going on. And then based on your scores from your ASVAB and whatnot, you can be offered those other jobs because you're looking to re-enlist for a longer period of time. You're looking to do another 4 or 6 years. And then they offer them better jobs, those intel, those other technical jobs like maintenance and things like that. Things that actually will get you skills for the outside world.
Or you enjoy ground pounding,
or you may enjoy that stuff.
Stay infantry.
And you stay infantry, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. But those other jobs would open up to you at that point because you have committed to that thing. You have wanted to go forward and be a part of that, right? So then you open up all those other jobs. But until you can prove that point through that 2 years, we're not going to waste the money on you.
Exactly. So my whole argument is like everyone should have to be subjected to that regardless.
Yep.
But I mean, people say, oh no, everyone needs to explore their own thing. Whatever.
Well,
I could argue that shit all goddamn day long.
Yeah. Service guarantees citizenship.
No, actually, if you want to like play that game.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
If you want to play that game, doesn't France have something called the French Foreign Legion?
They do.
Couldn't the United States do something similar to that?
Yeah, really?
And guarantee citizenship after you're done with it?
I don't know about that. That might be a little much.
It's a sketch, whatever.
Might be a little interesting. Hold on. Ron, why do you take your clothes off to watch a show? That worries me a little bit.
Yes. Oh my God. Or it doesn't happen.
No.
Because I'm so sexy, everyone wants to see me naked, I guess. I don't know.
It's interesting. Spanky, don't encourage him. That's terrible.
Don't poke the bear, please.
Yeah. So, transitioning to another topic here. I found this very interesting. The White House wants to deliver food to the poor Blue Apron style. Did you guys get a chance to read this article at all today?
I read really big into this, and I'm kind of like somewhat torn, and I don't know. All
right, so
you go with it.
No, you start first, because I want to hear your take on it first, Poogie.
No, I'll say no. That's a bad no. I know people abuse the system, and everyone there's always that one person that abuses the system, but like there's the people that properly use it. I mean, I don't want fucking spam every month coming at me if I'm fucking on the system. It's just, I mean, just give them MREs at that rate. That's the way I'm looking at it.
It's funny that you say spam because it did say canned meats. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Like, you need fresh food.
Yes.
It's a small argument.
Now, and that's, so I read through the article earlier today. The concept is great. It really is. What I don't like about it, though, is the way they want to try and do it. Like, they want to do canned meats, can this, whatever. Yeah, I agree. Poogie, you do need fresh things in your diet. Fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, fresh meat, things like that to help sustain your diet. Now, if they were to do a mix and match on... because that's part of their concept, is they wanted to reduce the amount of the money in the food stamps, and then supplement it with the box of food, and then but you still get some money on the EBT card or whatever it's called now, the food stamp program. But what I don't like is, like you said, is they are dictating what comes in the box, right? So it's the same box every month that you get. I mean, and then what? How do you determine what's left over for you to go get fresh fruits and vegetables and meat from the store? So the concept is kind of there, and I like the concept. However, there's a lot of other factors you got to take into account, i.e., food allergies and things like that, and dietary restrictions. So, yes, to a point, I agree with it. I think it should help. However, how do you take into account all those other factors that you cannot take care of in a blanket program?
Can I chime in on this? I'm sorry.
Yes, Spanky, go ahead.
Okay, no, because I did read that article, and I think it can work exactly how those other food delivery programs do work. Each family can pick and, hey, based on their food needs, based on their food allergies and everything else. And it doesn't have to be freaking spam. And with what Pookie said, it can be like a combination of all of the staples and everything, and what WIC does. And those are vouchers that they can pick up all the things that they need for that's fresh. Like it doesn't have to be an EBT card where you can buy just whatever you want. And because food stamps are like one of the most abused systems there are out there. And I see it all the time myself.
Right. And I agree with that.
So it can be like a mixture of it.
Okay, so here's my question then: is this mixture, right? So so would you do it website based, where they go in and click, the things? So there's this huge list, right? And they're allowed X amount of dollars worth of stuff, or allowed X amount of items a month or a week, or however you want to do it. And that goes in their cart, and it either gets delivered or however they want to set it up. And then they, like you said, they get a voucher. I like the voucher thing better than the EBT card, right? Because the voucher you actually have to present, and it has your names and stuff on it. You have to present ID, which would avoid the fraud piece of an EBT cards getting stolen or lost and whatnot, and still being out there. But I think it needs to go, like you're saying, Spanky, to a more WIC style, where there are things that are tagged automatically that are allowed to be purchased. Now,
right. And then you do what they're trying to do with this, and get rid of all of the fraud and the waste and the cost, and still doing exactly what the program is meant to do, is making sure that nobody goes hungry that's low income.
Right. And I agree with that. I totally agree with it, because that needs to happen, because the fraud is unbelievable. But I don't want it to be, so let's say you do half, right? So you get to pick this big lit from it's like we're shopping at Walmart or whatever, right? It's this website, food.gov. Let's just call it food.gov for now. They go on there, they click the items that they want based on their dietary restrictions and supplements and things like that, up to their allotted amount for that week, that month, that half month, whatever you want to call it. So they do that. And then they are given X amount of dollars for the rest of their week, month, whatever. And then they can go to a regular grocery store that's, because they're already participating in the program. And those items that they can use those vouchers on are tagged. Now, I'm not saying it has to be restricted, like you're saying. It doesn't have to be restricted to spam and whatnot, but I don't need them using it on lobster. But I'm not opposed to them. No, and I'm not opposed to them, but I'm not opposed to them, having pork chops or steaks, right? But there has to be some type of way to control it. Does that make sense?
No. Like I've been in the retail business a while.
Right.
I won't say a while, but for a few months of my young life. But I've seen people abuse the shit out of the fucking the EBT card or whatever. It's a card. It's an ABT card, pretty
Right.
much. But they come in, they buy a bunch of shit, and it's like steaks, this, that, lobsters. I mean, God forbid you eat a lobster, but I think like anyone should be able to eat a lobster if they want to, but do it properly. Like, God, you got me all screwed up right now. No, I'm about to rant. No, I don't agree with this shit at all. The food box bullshit, no. Because it's like you'd be better off just giving MREs to everyone that's on food stamps.
Well, would you actually agree with that? The MRE thing?
No, totally, totally. Just give them MREs. Let them eat MREs. Here you go.
Just give them MREs.
No. I mean, I did it for I was on food stamps for 10 years in the army, and I didn't realize it. Like, boom, I had to go to the fucking goddamn DFAC. If I didn't go to the DFAC, I was starving. So like, fuck y'all. I mean, if you really want me to get fucking triggered, all right, cool. Spend 10 years in the military. Bust your balls to get that separate rats. But I mean, all right, whatever.
So, well, get married and move off base, and you're fine.
Yeah. Get that BH and that fucking separate rats.
Separate rats, baby. It's what it's all about.
The separate rats is where it's at.
I had separate rations my entire time, and I wasn't married. Suck a dick.
Must be nice.
Oh yeah. Did you work in a mailroom?
No, I shift work, hooker.
Oh yeah, so shift work. Yeah, shift work. Yeah.
Yeah, shift work, mailroom. Same thing.
Same thing. So no, it's got its ups and downs. Like with anything, I think it needs to have a trial period, like anything else. Try it out in one area and see how it does. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, fucking scrap it.
Yeah. I don't know. Canned foods, really? Just give me an MRE at that point.
And that's the other thing that blew my mind is that's all they talked about was a lot of canned foods in the boxes. No, canned meat, really? No. That blew my mind.
That's totally healthy, whatever.
Stop. You guys are talking about this as though these people are going to be on these food boxes or food stamps for the rest of their lives. The whole point of the program is to assist them during their time of need to where during that time where they are trying to get up back up onto their feet again. This isn't supposed to be a permanent program. This is supposed to be a temporary program. This is not supposed to be something they're supposed to rely upon for the rest of their life.
True.
So, if I have a disability and I rely on food stamps, I'm stuck on spam?
I don't know. Find a sugar daddy. I don't know what to tell you.
Wait.
Yeah, I like your style.
Does Virginia swing that way for Pookie, though?
Sugar mama. There you go.
No, what if you're a poor soul that has a disability that can't work, and you're stuck on spam the rest of your life? That's not a good thing. That's not good.
Yeah.
So then, do you almost have like an option C, where it's both, where those who are on permanent, now again we have to reiterate, permanent physical disability, or like elderly or whatever, but who are genuinely not able to re-enter the workforce, they get actual food stamps. All the other bitches get the food boxes.
That makes sense there.
Yeah.
And that would be like almost like a happy median And again, with the food boxes, that's almost, especially if they're not that good, that's almost like an incentive for these hookers to go out there and get off the fucking welfare train.
Or stop reproducing massively.
Or that too. That too. I don't know. Just a thought.
See, whatever.
Thought I'd give my 2 cents.
No,
I just get really mad when people talk about food stamps. Like, there's people who abuse the shit out of it. Like, I've seen people go into places and buy a bunch of energy drinks and sodas should be banned on that shit. I honestly think that.
Yep.
Potato chips banned. The only thing you should be able to buy is like flour, meat, the basics.
Basics, yeah. Agreed. So, all right, to transition to another story that I found. Soldier's appeal rejected in murder of teen girlfriend's mother.
Oh.
Yeah. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A state appeals court has upheld the life without parole sentence imposed on a soldier in his 20s who was convicted of killing his then 14-year-old girlfriend's mother because she disapproved of their relationship. Wow. The Superior Court panel on Monday rejected the appeal.
Say the ages again. I'm so sorry.
So the soldier is in his 20s who was convicted of killing his then 14-year-old girlfriend's mother.
What the fuck is a 20-year-old doing with a 14-year-old? I have questions. One of them being that is statutory rape.
Wow.
Not a question. Sorry, that's a statement.
That's a statement.
Statutory rape. That's against UCMJ. Why is he not being punished?
He is apparently being punished.
Statutory rape.
Oh, 1 second.
Because that needs to be tacked in there.
Yep.
Inappropriate relationship with a minor needs to be tacked onto his fucking charges.
WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
Hey, Greg Close, Doc.
What's up, Doc?
Hey, Minx, you're right. That is pedophilia.
Oh, hi.
Hey, Minx. Let's talk a bit. Those are benefits. SNAP, such supplemental nutritional assistance program benefits. Those are benefits like is unemployment, and when we get out of the military, we're entitled to 6 months of unemployment benefits. You're not going to be able to do any sort of fresh fruits. It sounds good. Maybe we wouldn't have these little fat ass kids running around with diabetes by the time they're 10, But then who's going to pick those fresh fruits and vegetables? The illegal immigrants, because that's all they can do. It's sad. When my son was born in 2000, I was an E4 at Fort Hood, Texas. And as an E4, I was able to draw WIC while my wife was pregnant. As an E4 in the military. You're going to have people that ride and abuse and fuck the system over, just like stolen valor fucks. You're going to have people that don't allow it to paint the whole community, with a broad brush. Let me give you this scenario. I knew this guy, and he was what a lot of people call triple dipping the system. He was an E9, and he did 30 years in the United States Navy. And then he retired from there, and when he turned 65, he got his Medicare. And all the while, he had 100% service-connected disability rating from the VA. Do you think that guy's triple dipping? I mean, he just gave 30 years of his life to the military.
It doesn't matter. I don't see how that's related. And we've moved on, Doc. We're on a completely different subject now.
Oh, well, it's another great topic. I enjoy listening. Thank you, Minx. I'm sorry. Move on.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, Doc. Always love it when you call in. Where's that article now? But yeah, so Ice in the chat brings up a good point. Where's the parents? Well, the one's dead now, apparently. um, not to be brash about it, but it's true. But that is a good point, though. Is why wasn't this found sooner? Right. So the article continues. The Superior Court panel on Monday rejected the appeal by a Paso, Texas resident, Caleb Barnes, in the March 2015 killing of 54-year-old Cheryl Sylvonik. PennLive.com reported. Barnes was 20 when Sylvonik was killed and is now 23. The Fort Meade, Maryland soldier argued his statements to police should have been suppressed because he was under duress, but the court said police never tried to intimidate him and he never sought a lawyer or an end to the interrogation. The panel also found no fault with testimony from Barnes' girlfriend, Jamie Sylvonik, and a friend of hers who reported overhearing... I lost it. Overhearing her and Barnes talking about killing her parents. Barnes stabbed the victim in her car after Barnes, Cheryl Sylvonik, and Jamie Sylvonik returned home from a concert, authorities said. The woman had threatened to report Barnes to police for having sex with her underage daughter, prosecutors said. Jamie Sylvonik pleaded guilty this year and is serving 35 years to life. She testified at Barnes' trial that she plotted the murder and urged her boyfriend in a series of texts to carry it out.
All right. So that's good. So I'm really glad, one, that the term premeditated is going to be thrown around in the courtroom. That's awesome. Because it was. So hooray. Two, I'm glad that they are going to bring up the fact that, he was fucking a child. And will therefore be labeled as a sex offender and a child molester. And so on top of going to jail for murdering a woman, he's also going to jail for fucking a child. So good luck, dude.
Yeah. Jurors convicted Barnes of first-degree murder, rejecting his argument at trial that the girl killed her mother, and he only helped dispose of her body later because she said she was pregnant. Jesus, that's a terrible lie.
Wait, was she like? Wait, was she pregnant?
Who?
Stop it.
The girlfriend?
The child.
I don't know.
Oh God, I hope not.
That's all it says. That's the argument he used in court.
Ugh, I fucking hate people.
Yep. So yeah, that's
Oh God, that's almost like that's like just as bad as these fucking losers who got caught in fucking Bell County. Fucking morons. Ugh. Especially the one dude. He's getting fucked for life. I came to hook up with a hooker, but I brought a body bag. I hope it's cool.
I hope you're cool with this.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
No, it's not you. It's me.
Right. Never mind the duct tape, the rope, the knife, and the gun. Just don't pay attention to any of that. You see nothing. God, what an idiot.
What the hell is wrong with people
I don't
nowadays? Again, Pookie and I talked about this in the first hour with the substances being mailed to Trump Jr.'s home, Obama's office in D.C., and the House of Commons in the UK Parliament. Right? That's how you want to deal with things. You cannot just talk it out, or you cannot just accept responsibility of what's going on. That you want to take it to the extreme. Why?
Well, I mean, I don't. But,
No, not you.
Yeah.
You know what I meant. I did not mean you. I meant people wanted. There are people that are just not thinking things through, or they don't want to hear it out, and it just really blows my mind that that's what everybody's coming to right now. And it's unbelievable that this is a solution that people want to come to. Oh, you know what? Doesn't approve of our relationship. I'm going to kill her. What? Why? Fuck.
Well, I mean, you know, if you think about it, she was going to report him for child molestation. So,
right. Well,
which,
there's that.
you know, is frowned upon in
bit.
most cultures. And in fact, in most societies within the United States, to include the United States Army.
Right.
So there's that.
You know, that's murder is permanent, though. That's, I mean, permanent solutions to temporary problems. That's, you know, I take that quote from a lot of, you know, suicide prevention training that we take. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem usually, right? So it just blows my mind that this is what people are coming to. And that's their, you know, they want to go to the right extreme. They want to mail poison to somebody. They want to commit murder. You know, they want to cry about whatever. They want to bitch about not having a vehicle to, you know, help them in after coming out of the field instead of just walking their road marching the 6 miles. They don't want to take responsibility for fucking anything. Because it's never their fault. It's never their fucking problem. But for fuck's sake, if half the people that did this shit would actually just own it for that time it's gonna suck, and get through it, life would be so much better. You would get on with your life. You could contribute to society. You could be a productive member of the society instead of wanting to bitch and moan and complain and wear your pink pussy hat or whatever it is you want to do, dance around naked. But for fuck's sake, own the issue and then move on. Fuck.
Triggered.
I fucking hate people. No, we had to have two. Yes, we had to have two, not just one. Oh, wow, wow, that's good. This is a good show tonight. 3 hours were awesome. These 3 hours went by fast, even though you were here for just a little bit.
Right.
But that's okay. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do some quick housekeeping. Nation, as you know, we have a show every night of the week except Wednesdays. So we'll start off with tonight. Tonight is Tied Up Tuesday with myself and my lovely co-host Minx, who, without saving people. So I had Pookie joining me tonight, and we had Carl Forsling from Task and Purpose tonight. It was a great show. Great insight to what he does, and the way he writes his articles. Tomorrow is our night off. Thursday. Wow, I'm going backwards. Thursday is Sergeant's Times with Ice, and guys from the main page, and they're talking all things relative to current active duty and the issues facing the Army at that point. Friday is Friday Night Freedom, and that's with Minx and Pookie, and they're usually talking about current events and whatnot. And let's see, let me pull up our chart here. Oh, and you have oh, nope, that's next week. Woohoo! I'll cover that in a second. Woohoo! Wow. It's been a long week. And then, so that's Friday. Saturday is Saturday Night Savagery with Pookie and Jay Reddy. And their show, just tune in for that show, Nation. You'll enjoy it. It's savage. They get some really interesting guests and some really interesting conversations happen on that. Again, I mentioned earlier, the one that sticks out in my mind is their the clip they got from the quote unquote time traveler. So that always makes for an interesting show. And then Sunday, we have the Green Room with Jason, Charlie, and Cause. And they are talking all things 420 friendly and how it not only affects the veteran community, VA benefits, but also active duty. And then we roll into Monday night with the Monday edition with Ice and Flash. And they're covering current events and whatnot. And then it is back to us on Tuesday And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, we have Jose's Taco Truck hosted by KJ. And he's usually ranting about current events and the like. And all our shows in the evening are from 20 to 2300, so be sure to join us. And then for some upcoming guests we have, Friday, 23 February, Scott Morrison from Operation Supply Drop, in response to a growing need from our deployed troops requesting relevant gear from back home. Operation Supply Drop was founded in 2010 with a focus on delivering video game care packages downrange. As we grew and service members returned home to face various transitional challenges, our objective evolved to identify and address the underlying needs of these veterans and their families. Again, that's Friday, 23 February. On 24 February, Saturday, Gina Ruggiero, Rio from Creative Drill Sergeants will be joining us on Saturday. Our nation is faced with increasing number of Iraq and Afghanistan OIF veterans separating from military service with TBI, PTS, and often military sexual trauma. Homelessness risk and suicide rates among our nation's heroes will continue to rise without more effective coping mechanisms as trauma healing interventions. Trauma healing interventions begin with the 4 connected components of our mission statement that help prevent homelessness and suicide among veterans and can lead to successful reintegration into civilian life. And then the last guest we have so far on the schedule is 27. That's us. February, Tuesday, Tony from Service Women's Action Network, SWAN. Tony's Director of Communications at SWAN, where she leads SWAN's public affairs efforts. Tony served in the U.S. Army from October 01 to September 08, working as a military journalist and public affairs NCO. She has served in Iraq and was embedded with various units during day-to-day missions and combat operations. She has experience in media relations and has provided media training for military officers and soldiers, escorted international journalists in combat zones, and provided media facilitation during high-visibility military events. So that's our housekeeping, and those are our upcoming guest nation. So be sure to stay in tune with us so we know what's going on. Minx, what you got?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Woohoo. Oh, it was a good 3 hours. And Nation, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I want to give another shout out to Carl Forsling from Task and Purpose for joining us tonight. And we will see you on Thursday for Jose's Taco Truck with KJ. Until then, shots.